Hello, welcome back. Today we are continuing with the Fanhome Megazord build for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We are continuing or starting issue 3 today, which will continue the Megazord head. As you can see here, this is everything issue 2 should come with. The only thing not showing here is our battery, but I do have those stored safe and separate, which we will add to this as we need it. So without further ado, let's get this opened, assembled and take a look. It's building time! And here we have part 2 unboxed and ready. So without further ado, let's get our screws opened. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 types of screws. So we should get 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our KM screws, which should be so I need to sort out which screws are which. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I have the screws separated. The instructions aren't particularly clear on which screws are which, especially with the image. But I'm hoping that it should be discernible as we go through the instructions as to which ones go which. So initially we need the right horn, which should be this one, and we need the right hinge piece, which should be this one. Nope, that's that one. So 3.1 and 3.2 for this part. Then it's a case of lining these up, pressing them there we go. And then you need 2 of the PMW screws, which I believe are the flathead ones. This bit is awkward. There we go. Now, one thing that's worth mentioning, and I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but a lot of the pieces do have moulded into their frames an R or an L to denote if they are the left or the right, which does help. left and right done. There we go, that's our left and our right's done. We then need to take 3.3, which is not that one, it is 3.3 is this one, and then this should screw into our right one. So what we should find is everything lines up correct. If you have the right ones, there you go. Yeah, that's the right one. With the smaller pictures, it's awkward to tell which is which, and I find myself having to keep skipping back and forth to figure out what instructions are which, especially with these screws. So I've got here the original magazine. Let's see if I can take a better look at that. I'm wondering if I've used the wrong ones for this. Okay, 1, 2, 4. Okay, so I'm back and I've had to restart this. The instructions over which screws are which are really quite confusing because the pictures aren't clear. I finally figured out which screws are which, and as you can see here, I've labelled them while I work through it. So going back to the beginning of this one, I need to take 2 of the PWM 3.14 screws to connect our horns. So the 3.14 screws have trying to line this up is a pain. So as I was saying, we've got 2, 3. Screws keep coming out. So we have 2 sizes of the 3WM screws, and these have like a rim around the screw port. Okay, so I'm going to screw these into place and then we'll be back. Okay, so the horns are now done. That was awkward solely because the instructions on the screws are not clear. I really don't remember doing this the first time, it being that awkward. But here we are. Right, moving on, we then get our connector, and this piece and the bigger end of connector slides through. Then with that slid through, we need to take our circuit board and this will screw in like so. So we take our lighting support, and again the pictures So the pictures are awful here, but we do need circuit board facing up, with this having come through and around like that. So it's trying to have these in position while you screw this point in. You should use one of the PWB screws, which is the black one, which is nice and easy. There's a couple lips here which line up with the lighting unit, so it's just a case of lining everything up and then screwing it into place like so. You don't want to over tighten and accidentally break the connectors. There we go. Then we take our battery. With the one-off package, all the batteries were packaged together and separate from the items, so that's something to bear in mind. We're going to take our adhesive foam, wrap this around the battery, presumably. There we go. There we go. In this case, it's just lining it up and wrapping it around. There we go. That's nice and wrapped around. I presume this is to help keep it insulated and not ruin or leak onto the mechanism, the Zord in any part. This will then sit inside our face unit from the previous issue. I don't know how important it's going to be, but the battery, the wire faces that way. Just bear that in mind. Then we take our circuit board, and this should line up like so. Should just, yeah. Okay, so make sure your wires are through the slot there and that this lines up like so. Take two of the smaller PWM screws and screw it into place. You don't want to over tighten this because you need to make sure you've got room for the wires to line up properly with the other points later on in the manual. So then we take our eyes from the previous issue and they will sit in place. Just make sure you get them the right way around. Take our headpiece from the previous issue. Just make sure the eyes are lining up without problems. Then with the white piece facing that way, this will just slot over okay, so this bit's always been awkward, so we're going to want the eyes there and this is going to come through the top. So like that. Then this will connect over the lip like so. Then this should just line up and screw into place. All about just making sure everything's lined up nice, and there we have our Megazord headpiece done, and final part is connecting the neck base. So turning this upside down, this connects with the head like so. Making sure the wires are fed through like so. That will need to feed through as well. Again, I think there might be a problem here. I'm just going to pause this while I sort this out. Okay, because the instructions really aren't as clear as they should be, I've had to disassemble this and move some of the wires around. So you need all three of the bottom wires coming through on this side, and then they feed through like so. The instructions on this really aren't clear. The pictures aren't great. Instead of being photos of the assembly, they're essentially drawn images, and they're not the clearest to follow, which makes it awkward. And a lot of it has been essentially trial and error, but screwing in the last of our two screws, this should now be in position. It's a nice tight fit. I've left some of the bits loose just so that I can move wires around without potentially ripping them, but everything will be tightened up when we fully assemble this part. But yeah, there we have part 3. Yes, part 3 of our build. So we'll bring this round for one last look. Let's get rid of that. So this week, or this assembly stage, we continued with the head, which we've assembled here, and the horns, which we've got here. These will go to one side until we continue with our next build. I think, if I remember rightly, issue 4 does, or part 4 finishes off the Megazord head for us. So yeah, there we have it. So the last thing to do is take a look at this week in Power Rangers. Episode 3 would have given us teamwork, cleaning the environment. This episode was the one featuring the Minotaur and the Rangers trying to clean up the city dump. And one of the interesting facts for this episode is another new addition to the cast was Sharky, a teen punk girl. She hangs out with Bulk and Skull while they get up to mischief in school. Who else remembers her? I think she only appeared in a handful of episodes with Bulk and Skull. If that, I didn't even realise she had a name. So yeah, there we have it. Thank you for watching. Sorry this one's been so confusing and a mess. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, may the power protect you.